There are a lot of things that you should be buying within GTA Online. They can help you massively by entertaining you with more content to go through, or in a lot of cases allow you to have access to content which will give you more money. And you can use that money to feed back into this loop where you buy more items that can give more money, as well as go into things that are entertaining. But with all of that said, there are some items which you should always avoid, and in today's video we're going to be going through 10 of them. Now, with a lot of stuff that we're going to be going through, at the end of the day you can spend whatever money you want on any items within the game, including some of the items on this list. But with everything that we've included, we'll give you reasons why you shouldn't, as well as if there's any better options. So firstly, we gotta be talking about business cosmetic upgrades. Every business within the game has different options for you to upgrade them. Some upgrades are essential, whilst others not so much. For example, if you was to buy into the Cosmetic submarine, this will give you access to the Cayo Perico heist. Now with this, there will be upgrade options when you first buy the sub. And I do recommend for people to buy into the Sparrow. The Sparrow is not essential, but it's worth buying into because it has the benefit of being able to get you from your sub to whatever location it is relatively quickly if you do not have any other vehicles that you can use, such as an Oppressor Mark II. That has a use case, but with the cosmetic upgrades, they are just cosmetics. It provides no functionality, there's no extra content you can go through whilst buying into these cosmetics, and of course it brings no return on investment. And sometimes some of these purchases can cost hundreds of thousands, and if you're doing this for every single business that you go through, it doesn't take long for this to put you millions in the hole. Number 2, yachts. Yachts will cost anywhere between 6 to 8 million. And unlike some of the other stuff that we will talk about on this list, it does have some functionality. You will be able to get contact missions, which does provide extra gameplay within game. But really, for the price that you're going to be paying, 6 to 8 million in order just to get contact missions, it's not worth it. Let alone that these yachts, they can't actually be moved by yourself. They act as a service, which does mean you're now going to be spending 6 to 8 million only for you to on paper have a yacht, but not really be able to do too much with it. Overall, there's no real reason for you to be buying into any of these. And number 3, we have the Luxor Deluxe. The Luxor Deluxe comes in at an outrageous price of $10 million. This price is way too high for you to really justify paying it. It is a useless vehicle. If you are looking to get from point A to point B relatively quickly, you can take my previous point earlier where you could just buy into the Sparrow, fairly cheap for you to first get into this if you are just starting. And if you have been playing for quite some time, it makes sense for you to go for the Oppressor Mark II. Both of these hold more functionality than the Luxor Deluxe. Not to mention, with this, a standard Luxor can be found at the LSIA for completely free, saving you actually needing to go and spend $10 million on the exact same vehicle. The only upside with buying into this is that you do have bragging rights to a certain degree. It is a full gold plated plane, but it's not going to be faster than any other vehicle, and it's not going to have more weaponry than other vehicles, which does put you in a position of the second someone sees you using this, they are just going to grief you, and there is no way to defend yourself. And number 4, there's no need to buy snacks. Hear me out. You do need to have snacks within game. This is how you can get health, and they will come in clutch when going through some of the harder missions within the game. GTA, in terms of gameplay, can be relatively harsh. In most missions, enemies have pinpoint accuracy from miles away, and it doesn't take too many of them to get a few hits in where you're ultimately dead. So having snacks as well as having armor does come in helpful, but actually buying them, there's no real need to do this. Within nearly every single business that you buy into, they can be claimed for free. This includes the likes of Kasaka, the MC Clubhouse, and the CEO office. So why would you go to the store, which is probably not on your journey, for you to then go and buy these snacks when you can just walk past in any business that you enter into and just get them for free. This is something that will cost you next to nothing, but yeah, again, it will add up if you continuously do this with every single mission. Number 5, there's no real reason for you to buy into mid or low end apartments. High-end apartments used to be a struggle when GTA Online was first ever released because there was no content to go through that actually paid out well. But now, since then, there's been a lot more content, and this makes high-end apartments very cheap. Now, you should still be buying into an apartment. It is still worth going through, not just a place for you to store your vehicles, as well as a place that you can spawn in, but there is content available, this being the starter heist, the 10 heists, which will be available from Leicester. And even though they're not the highest paying heists within the game, in fact, they are the lowest, it's still worth going through. It's still fun content to this day. Number 6, we have the Cargo Bob Jetsam. The Cargo Bob Jetsam is the exact same as the standard Cargo Bob, but has a different livery. This one is a very simple one. If you do need to buy into a Cargo Bob, which in most cases you do not need to, there's only very specific examples of why you should buy into this. And if you are doing it specifically for missions, normally a Cargo Bob is provided. But for whatever reason, if you do need to buy into a Cargo Bob, don't go for the Jetsam because it is the exact same. Save the money, go for the normal Cargo Bob, use that for whatever it is that you're doing, and use the rest of the money to buy into something completely different. Number 7, the Tula. The Tula is a plane within GTA Online that can land on water. However, it's slow, it's big, and it's pointless. It also isn't cheap, coming in at $5 million. Just like what we said earlier with the Luxor Deluxe, yes, it may be pretty cool. Yes, you probably could get some bragging rights, the fact that you have been able to buy into this on top of everything else. But really, in terms of functionality, there are so many better vehicles that you can buy into for a much lower price. The benefit of landing on water really isn't too much. There are some cases where a mission will happen out on the open sea, in which that does come in handy, especially if you need to go and pick up something very specific or even dive in the water ready for you to come back out and then head back to land. But normally Rockstar are nice within these missions that they do give you a vehicle to use for that specific mission. And at that point, there's no difference between you using the one which you bought for $5.1 million or the one that is just gifted to you. So with this one, our recommendation is to avoid it. Number 8, of course, we've included Tug. The Tugboat in GTA Online cost over $1 million. And quite simply, just like most things on this list, there's no real reason to buy into it. It is outrageously slow and serves no purpose at all within the game. You buy into this, you don't get any extra content. There's not even any specific missions where this is needed. It's just an extra thing that you can buy into for the sake of buying into. So for that, don't do it. Save the $1.2 million and then go and use that on something that is going to be more valuable. With that $1.2 million, you could actually wait for the Kasaka sub to be discounted by 50%, and you're able to buy a full submarine, which allows you to have access to the Cayo Perico heist. It gives you a return because you're able to make at least 1 million or around 1 million, depending on the approach that you take for every single time that you go through it. And if you did really want to go and use it to sell the open seas, you could just go and use the submarine as well. It's incredibly slow, just like the Tugboat. Next up, we have Dump. This is a dump truck which costs exactly $1 million. You can actually find this for free in the Davis Quartz Quarry southeast of Sandy Shores. It is entirely drivable, but of course with this, you can't actually raise or lower the bed on the back. So it doesn't really provide much functionality for what really is the whole point of having a dump truck. Really, that is its only purpose. Like, that's the only thing that you need it for, and it doesn't do that. Everything else is going to be overpriced, it's going to be slow, and ultimately it is extremely pointless. You're not going to have any armor with it. Everyone can shoot directly at you, so there's no upside to buying this. You could just brag that you've lost $1 million. And finally, at number 10, we've included the Titan. The Titan aircraft in GTA Online has no proper armor, it isn't weaponized, and it isn't cheap. Not only that, it can always be found at LSIA, making it another pointless purchase. If you did want to go and use it for some fun with friends, just go and head to the airport. You will be able to find one. You can spend 5 or 10 minutes having a laugh with friends, and once you're done, just crash it. It doesn't matter, it's not yours. But spending 2 million on this, you could save a lot of money just avoiding this and use that money for something completely different. Now, these are the 10 items that we've included as part of this list, but to be honest, there could be a lot more. There's a lot of items within GTA which don't really have any benefit whatsoever. Now, some people suggest that, hey, you can buy into them for fun. It doesn't have to be about buying into things just because it's a waste of money. Some people like to brag. Some people like to have various other activities within the game other than just completed missions, which is fine. But with a lot of these items, you're able to find them within free roam anyway. If you feel like something else should be added to this list, then let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking our next video. Our next video goes through the fastest way to make $1 million as a complete beginner within GTA Online. So click that and I'll be over there to guide you step by step on exactly how you can do that.